Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I want to make a video that's going to tell you about what the best kinds of crypto exchanges out there. And whilst I'm at it, I'm also going to explain what the different kinds of crypto exchanges that exist. And I'm going to start off by telling you about what my primary ethos is, and it will give you a bit of an explanation as to how I'm judging these different exchanges. So, as you can see from my channel name, my name is DBank Dave, and my goal is to teach people about how to do something called debanking. Now, debanking is a bit of a dirty word that happens, I guess, when people get cancelled, right? Like if they did a naughty thing and they lose access to their bank account, it's something that happens against your will. It's not usually a good thing. If you lose access to your bank account, it's usually a very disastrous thing. It's something that's meant to punish you. But what the kind of debanking that I'm talking about is about doing it in a conscious manner. You're trying to actively reduce your reliance on centralized financial systems, which is something that may be used against you in the future. You know, if you don't actually have custodianship over your own funds, then you don't really own your own money, and that's bad, right? So I'm trying to help people actually gain control over their own means of exchanges, and in order to be able to actually have actually really be the true custodian of your own funds, you're going to want to be able to control you're going to want to have the best on and off ramp. So what is an on and off ramp? An on and off ramp is a way in which you go from fiat currency into crypto and into crypto into fiat, right? Now, these on and off ramps are controlled by crypto exchanges, right? Now, some crypto exchanges are going to be more controlling in what they ask of you in if you want to do business on their platforms. So, centralized exchange, typically what you would have to do, a centralized spot exchange, that is, right? Like a place like Binance or Bybit or stuff like that. If you want to deal on their platform, you're going to have to make a number of sacrifices in order to be able to deal with them. One of them is you're going to have to KYC, and also in order for them to be able to stay compliant with whatever country you're living in, whatever their regulations are, they're going to have to make other they're going to have to acquiesce to some other deals, some other things that they wouldn't ordinarily be in alignment with their original founding principles. So, for instance, they might have a situation where if the government asks, they can just provide all of your trading information to said government or whatever three-letter agency that asks of them, right? And centralized exchanges are ultimately in a position where they're helping de-anonymize your cryptocurrency usage. Now, one of the ideas of debanking as well that I have is what you're trying to aim for is to be as anonymous as possible, right? You're trying to do the things that cryptocurrency was invented for. Now, when you go onto a centralized exchange and you provide KYC, you're ultimately de-anonymizing yourself. And when you're doing all this business on centralized exchanges, all of those transactions are recorded by the centralized institution, which leaves you compromised. Either it's a bad actor might come in and hack the details from that exchange, and they might wind up with your information, or that information might go to some kind of government or three-letter agency. I don't know what exactly, right? So centralized exchanges aren't ideal for allowing you to retain the privacy that cryptocurrency affords you in the first place. So what I'm aiming for in this video is to describe to you what the best exchanges are that will allow you to do what what cryptocurrencies are designed to do. You want to be as anonymous as possible when you're purchasing and selling cryptocurrency, and you're going to want to be able to deal in a way in which all of your transaction data or whatever is anonymized, ideally by the blockchain, or there are ideally as few centralized third parties in the process as possible. So let's just get into the meat and potatoes, as I like to call it. I want to explain to you the three different kinds of crypto exchanges that exist out there. So what I've got in the background here is Binance. So we all understand what that is. I've basically just explained it. You've got Bybit as well. These are what you'd call centralized spot exchanges. Now, this is most exchanges. Most inflows and outflows in the entire world are done through decentralized exchanges. Why is that? It's because that's where most of the volume is. Now, the reason why you need to have a lot of volume on an exchange is because that's going to help keep the price as close to market price as possible. If you've got an exchange that you're dealing on that has low volume, you're going to have to spend a lot of money on what's called spread. That means there's going to be a very big difference between the market price and the closest order on the platform, right? So it will end up costing you a lot of money, and that's why you tend to want to deal in places where everyone else is dealing. And it just so happens that people are most prone to wanting to deal on platforms that are there's a lot of centrality to it, right? The centrality comes from the fact that everyone is willing to do business there, and it just so happens that people want to do business on a place that is tried and tested. It's maybe backed by whatever central authority that exists. Sorry, it's a bit smudgy. I don't know what's going on here. So it's backed by the government. It's backed by whatever regulatory practices that exist in so and so country. And as a result, institutions feel safe with it, whales feel safe with it, the large players feel safe with it, right? And because the large players come to deal on these centralized exchanges, they bring a lot of money, ergo volume, which tends to be good for everybody, right? So I'm against centralized exchanges because of the compromises that you're forced to take in regards to KYC and de-anonymizing your cryptocurrency usage. However, I think it's worth noting that the value of what these places bring is the fact that you get cryptocurrency for as cheap as you can possibly get it because there's volume. If you go to an exchange where there's not much volume, you'll end up paying a lot more. And also because these exchanges have all the volume, I guess you could say they've got scales of economy, which means that they don't have to charge that much in terms of spot trading fees, right? So on a place like Bybit, Binance, it's like 0.1%. But if you're on a very small exchange, they don't make as much money. It's serving some little niche purpose, like some of the ones I'll talk about in a moment. You know, their trading fees might be like 1%, right? So if you want the absolute cheapest rates, centralized spot exchanges are the best. Now, I understand that you might not be happy hearing that, but that is the reality. If you want the best rates and you don't mind about some of the compromises that you have to make along the way, places like Binance, Bybit, OKX, Huobi, whatever, that is where their strength comes in. However, if you're someone like me and you're trying to focus on being as decentralized as possible, then you're going to want to pay attention to some of the other recommendations that I have. And to me, the next step above that is what you'd call DEXs. So what I described right now were centralized exchanges. This is where decentralized exchanges come in. So a decentralized exchange is essentially the opposite of a standard centralized exchange in that you don't have to provide any of your own personal information to get involved with using the exchange. All you really need is access to a web wallet. So web wallet is it's just a normal crypto wallet, but it's one that's on your browser, like Brave or Mozilla Firefox or Chrome or whatever. And these wallets play an integral role in you being able to interact with Web3. Web3 is, I guess you could say, the blockchain internet. And there are a number of different blockchain-based apps that you can only interact with using your web wallet, like MetaMask or Trust Wallet or Phantom or whatever. And the way that you are able to use decentralized exchanges like Uniswap or PancakeSwap or whatever is that instead of signing up with an account and putting your email, your phone number, making a username like Pimpity Dragon or whatever, you instead just click the connect button and it will connect your personal web wallet with the decentralized application, right? So these decentralized exchanges, they are dApps, what you would call them, decentralized applications. So when you are able to access this thing, you're able to make exchanges, you're able to trade using the pool of liquidity that's available without having to sign up with, without having to provide any personal information. You create an order, and that order goes out. It goes onto the automatic market maker, and your order is matched with someone else, and the trade is complete, and no personal information had to be shared. You've got your web wallet, but that's anonymous. That's not connected to anything personal to you. It's just a number of it's just a code essentially, and this is a really great way of trading. So I'm a big fan of DEXs. DEXs, though, are primarily used for crypto to crypto transactions, and if everything could be done via a decentralized exchange, I think it would trend in that direction. But the thing is, the reason why we still have centralized exchanges is because on a place like Binance or Bybit, you can send funds from fiat onto the exchange and then turn those funds on the exchange into crypto, right? And that's why centralized exchanges are so important, and why we haven't completely made the jump to decentralized exchanges. Because if you want to use a decentralized exchange like PancakeSwap or Uniswap, you need to already have crypto, and you need to have that crypto sent to your web wallet, so you can transfer ETH to BTC, BTC to ETH, whatever you want, right? But if you want to transfer US dollars into ETH, you can't use a decentralized exchange like Uniswap or whatever. So to me, this is where the third option comes in, right? First, you've got centralized exchanges, then you've got decentralized exchanges, and then you've got peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchanges. So a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchange is a different idea, and it's not necessarily some new groundbreaking idea. The original first transactions that took place on the blockchain were done via peer-to-peer. And what is that? It's just two people just directly connecting with each other, making an agreement to buy and sell crypto at a certain price. So the first transaction that took place on the Bitcoin forum was a guy selling pizza for Bitcoin, and these two people made a gentleman's agreement. They agreed on the price, they agreed on how many Bitcoin was going to be sent. One guy just sent the Bitcoin directly to another person, the other person just sent the pizza, right? And this was before there were crypto exchanges. This is how transactions took place. It took place organically between two people. There were no third parties involved. Now, the problem with this arrangement in the beginning was that you had to rely on trust. The trust factor was very important. It was very easy to scam another person. So whoever sent funds first, or sent the goods or whatever first, the fiat currency first, was very prone to being scammed. Because let's just say we make an agreement, a gentleman's agreement on some online forum, to send, I'm going to send you a pizza, and then once the pizza arrives, you send me 1 Bitcoin. Well, once I send those funds, you can just disappear into the ether, because, the crypto world is a very anonymous place. Imagine we're dealing on Telegram or some online forum. You can just run away with it. So peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchanges were born out of a need to create something called escrow. So the escrow system basically is like, you've got a third party, and that's the exchange, and they'll facilitate the transaction between you and another person. You're still dealing directly with each other, but there's this thin membrane that's between you, and that's the exchange providing this escrow. So what an escrow is someone might they'll offer to trade with you, right? And what the other person needs to do is, what you do is you make an agreement. These are I'm gonna sell you Bitcoin at this price. You're gonna send me this, and then you make the agreement, right? Now, before any trading activity happens, the funds that are in question, the Bitcoin, will be locked into escrow, right? And those funds won't be released until both parties are satisfied that the trade is completed. Now, the vast majority of times on peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchanges, 95+% of the time, the buyer and the seller can work it out, right? The escrow is just simply a safety rail, just in case there is a dispute. But most of the time, like when someone receives funds for payment or whatever, the funds just get released. It's as simple as that, right? So the other 5% of the time is the time where the escrow is actually necessary, and that's when you've got like a scammer, or there is a dispute between a buyer and a seller. The moderator will come in, and they'll exercise their power by essentially deciding who is going to end up with the funds that are locked in escrow. Is it going to go to the buyer or they going to go to the seller? And they're going to look through all the different evidence that's presented by the buyer and the seller, and then they're going to release the funds. And most of the time, it's okay. The vast majority of the time, the moderator is able to distinguish who is the scammer, or they're able to make something work out between the buyer and seller. And this is how it works. So the benefits of this is that buyers and sellers get to directly connect with each other. And because they get to deal directly with each other, they don't actually require any KYC. They don't need any personal information from another person, from the person they're dealing with, unlike centralized exchanges, right? But unlike a decentralized exchange, these two people, this buyer and the seller, they can deal in fiat with each other. So maybe the seller of Bitcoin, he wants to receive a bank transfer, right? So he just provides his bank transfer information to the buyer. The buyer sends those funds, and bada bing, bada boom, the trade is complete. And what's awesome about this as well is the person who's selling crypto and the person who's buying crypto, they can make up any terms they want. Think about it like an eBay like an e-commerce platform like eBay. Like on eBay, you can sell anything you want, but it's all settled in, say, dollars, right? Like all the transactions are settled on PayPal or bank transfer or whatever. But the person is free to sell an air guitar. They're free to sell anything they want. They can sell a phone. They can sell it for whatever price they want, right? They can make any terms and conditions they want. So you can find all kinds of amazing things, like people buying and selling crypto for cash, like they meet up in person. They might sell it cash by mail. They might do bank transfers. They might do PayPal. They might do TransferWise, Revolut. So there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different payment methods out there that exist on P2P cryptocurrency trading platforms that don't exist on places like Binance. On Binance, if you want to send fiat funds to the exchange, you can only do it via bank transfer, maybe Apple Pay. Maybe there's like one or two other payment methods that I haven't heard about. But for the most part, you can only do like a very narrow range of payment methods on a centralized exchange. But as I mentioned, on a P2P exchange, you can do anything you want. You could even buy and sell crypto via gold and silver. You could buy items. You could have someone pay your rent. You could have someone pay your electric bills in exchange for crypto. Anything that you can do, anything you can think, anything that you want to do, you can do, provided there are other people that are interested in doing it. So you could technically trade with any payment method you want, but maybe you find there are no buyers or sellers for that particular niche. But as long as you can find a buyer or seller for it, you can do whatever you want. And so P2P exchanges have like the most amount of freedom that could possibly afforded to you. So what are the downsides? Well, the downside is, for one, as I mentioned before, you know how I said that like 95% of trades are completely fine, then 5% may possibly result in a moderator dispute. The moderator has to step in. The worst case scenario is that let's just say you're dealing with a scammer. A scammer decides to scam you, and then you have to open up a dispute. And most of the time, the dispute will be resolved in your favor, but there's a very small chance that the scammer might actually be able to convince and bamboozle the moderator into believing their side of the story, so you can potentially lose money that way. So unlike decentralized exchanges or centralized exchanges, there's basically no chance of getting scammed. I don't see how it could happen, but there is a possibility of being scammed on P2P cryptocurrency exchanges, and that's where the risk comes in, and that's where maybe you consider it's a downside, right? It's a very reasonable point to make. I don't think it's a small thing at all. And the next thing that I want to mention, the other downside, is that there's just less volume on P2P cryptocurrency exchanges. All the dedicated P2P cryptocurrency exchanges, not the ones on Binance, Bybit, whatever, like places like Local CoinSwap, HODL, they've just got less people on the exchange themselves. And then on top of that, there's less volume between the different payment method pairs. So like places like TransferWise, Revolut, or whatever, there's only going to be a certain amount of sellers, and they're going to set their price according to how many other traders there are. So the more competition there is, the more volume there is, the lower the price, because sellers have to compete with each other. But um, the opposite is true. Like, the fewer there are, the higher the price is going to be, because they can just ask as much as they want, because there's just fewer people dealing in that arena. So the question then, to summarize, like, the question of, like, what is the best kind of trading method, it depends on what you're going for. If you just want the best price possible and the safest means of transacting, centralized exchanges are the best way. You want to use places like Binance, Bybit, OKX, whatever, right? You can use my referral link in the description down below. I think I've still got them. But if you're trying to have the most uh, decentralized way of buying cryptocurrency, the most anonymous way of buying cryptocurrency, then you're going to want to use places like local coin swap or hodl hodl. Again, use my referral link in the description down below if I've sold you on this. And the reason why you should do this is because, again, they don't require KYC in order to be able to onboard your fiat into crypto. And if you've already got crypto and you want to go from one crypto to another, you can use places like Uniswap or PancakeSwap. These are great ways to do this. There's no KYC. They've got good volume, so the fees are pretty low. And as a result, I think these are great. My personal pick, though, is I do prefer peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchanges. There's a bit of a learning curve to it, but if you come to understand more and more about how these kinds of exchanges works, um, you'll be very satisfied with them, provided that you know, like, which payment method's got the best volume, and which place which will be the cheapest for you, because that's, I think, the main downside. It's just that there's less volume. So if you can find a payment method which there's a decent amount of volume, in my opinion, peer-to-peer crypto exchanges are the best. And I'm kind of a bit of a personal ambassador for peer-to-peer crypto exchanges because I like them so much. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you like this video, make sure to give a like. Make sure to subscribe and check out my referral link in the description down below for the different centralized exchanges and peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchanges, and I'll see you next time.